Disclaimer, this is not your typical season preview. This video will not be perfect. Setting's not perfect. My coffee's not perfect. I'm not perfect. Rambling. Okay, where to start? There are 31 days until a new NHL season is upon us, I think. I figured that every day for the next 31 days, I would take the time to give a season preview for each and every team. I know, lots of people do this. Disclaimer, this is not your typical season preview. I won't be regurgitating numbers that you can find on Hockey Reference or telling you what the lineup could look like, because you can find that at dailyfaceoff.com. You're welcome. Capiche? Capiche. This is just gonna be things that I kind of want to talk about with each team. So here goes nothing. There's really only one logical place to start this preview, and that's with the Stanley Cup defending champion, St. Louis Blues, the underdog of all underdogs. They weren't really an underdog, but we won't get into that. The team that now infamously went from last place on January 3rd to Stanley Cup champions, literally from worst to first. They did that. And now the whole gang is back together to defend their title. Except they're not, because a piece of their heart and freaking soul has been ripped out. I'm being a little dramatic. Pat Maroon's not there. Like, what do you mean no Pat Maroon? No big rig? No hometown hero? No fatty patty hockey? His words, not mine. I mean, I suppose it makes sense when you consider that as a St. Louis native, I mean, all he did was score the Game 7 double overtime series clinching goal in St. Louis to send the Blues, to the Western Conference Finals. I mean, how much could that really be worth? Side note, that game weirdly full of sevens. The point is, Patrick Maroon is not returning to St. Louis. I'm not over it. I can't get over it. I don't want to get over it. So I'm not going to get over it. And I'm not even a St. Louis Blues fan. I'm never getting over it. I'm being a little dramatic. Where was I? Pat Maroon. Right. The big rig is taking fatty patty hockey to Tampa to help the Bolts try to recover from that embarrassing showing in last year's postseason. Sorry, but it's true. Please don't attack me in the comments. Or do. I'll take the engagement. It's totally fine. It's going to be so weird to see Pat Maroon in a Tampa Bay Lightning sweater. I could do an entire video just ranting about how upset I am that Pat Maroon is not going to be a St. Louis Blue, but I won't do that to you. Good luck to you, Pat, with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Ooh, now this would be a good story. Patrick Maroon, St. Louis's hometown hero, exiled, I'm being a little dramatic, by the team he grew up rooting for, returns to the Cup final with the Tampa Bay Lightning, out for vengeance. I'm being a little dramatic, against his former team. Ooh, who wouldn't want to watch that? I'm now somehow rooting for the Bolts and Blues to meet in the Stanley Cup final. I don't think that'll happen, but it would be cool if it did. Let's talk actual St. Louis Blues, which again, sadly, does not include Patrick Maroon anymore. So basically, the entire team is returning, which I dig. That's obviously a really good thing. They won a cup last year for a reason. On a side note, when did it become cool to hate on the St. Louis Blues Stanley Cup win? It honestly baffles me how many people on social media are ripping the Blues, somehow thinking that they weren't really a good team. Like, there's people out there that are actually making the argument that the Blues winning the cup was lucky. Yeah, that's just one I can't get behind. If you can make sense of it for me, hit me up in the comments. Just because they were in last place on January 3rd doesn't discredit what they accomplished in February, March, April, May, and June. Like, that's doesn't make sense. They won. And they faced adversity along the way. Are you kidding? If you're one of those people that's trying to say the Blues didn't deserve to win the cup, or they got lucky, or they aren't as good, or they're overhyped, just stop. Just don't say it anymore. Just keep it to yourself. They're the champions for a reason. I think we can all agree. Pietrangelo's probably going to have a monster year because he's a UFA next summer, so we all know what happens when that happens. Dudes try to line their pockets with more cash money. Millionaires. That's my big, bold prediction for the St. Louis Blues. I know it's not bold, but that's what you're getting. But when it comes to the Blues, the three main questions are this. Number one, can Jordan Binnington perform at the level he did last year for a full season? Here's the thing. I think Binnington is a really talented goaltender. I think he's the real deal. I think he's legit. However, it's really difficult to maintain the level of performance that he had last year through an entire season and then into another postseason. Look at Connor Hellebuck a couple years ago, right? Has a career year. Last year, regresses a little bit. I think it's only natural to assume that Jordan Binnington might see his numbers regress a tiny little bit over the course of a full season, but also because he spent the better part of the last 3 months partying. Did you see his party? It looked amazing. And he played hockey into June. The whole team is going to have a hangover to start the season. Not to mention the scouting and the book on Binnington. It has pages now, like real, actual National Hockey League pages that teams with staffs that are paid to figure out what someone's weakness is are looking at all the time. So people are going to be a little more familiar with Mr. Jordan Binnington this time around. That's going to be tougher on him. Second question, and we ask this of every single Stanley Cup winning team every single year: can they repeat? Can they go back to back? The answer is almost always no. So I'm gonna go with that because there's a reason it's only happened once in the last 2 decades. It's kind of hard to do, especially in today's NHL. So I'm gonna take the field over the Blues to win the cup this year. They're gonna go into this season with a target on their back. Nobody, and I do mean nobody, is taking the Blues lightly this year at all. Also, these guys just achieved their ultimate dream. They won the Stanley Cup, and I don't care who you are or where you come from, or how down to earth you are. Once you achieve something, doing it again, the desire or the hunger to do it again isn't quite as high. That's just the way it is. Yes, there are uber competitive people like Sidney Crosby, LeBron James, that want to win because they want to be one of the greatest of all time. But believe me when I say not everybody, most people are not like that. So we'll see how hungry the Blues are next year. Also, they play a super physical style of game that wears down their opponent, but it also wears them down. And this year's regular season is going to be a lot tougher for the Blues than last year because they're the defending champs. They're going to have an X on their back. They are the team to beat this year. Nobody's taking them lightly. Nobody is going to have a night off against the St. Louis Blues. Plus, they play in a really hard division with teams that got better. Joe Pavelski is a Dallas Star. What? Honestly though, Denny Savard, if you don't know who that is, just head over to Google, do a quick Google search. Legendary. Denny Savard once told me that once you win it once, you understand the sacrifice, you understand what it took to get there. And not everybody is willing to pay that price again, even though you want to win it again. You obviously, who wouldn't want multiple rings? Who wouldn't want to be able to walk around like Ken Danica with 3 rings on one hand being like, yeah, I got 3 cups. It's not a big deal. But you also fully understand the sacrifice that it takes to get there. And not everybody is willing to pay that price. It's a physical, mental toll that only people who have won the Stanley Cup can even begin to comprehend. It's always stuck with me though, what Denny Savard said, and I've never really forgotten it. It's just not an easy thing to do. So I guess we'll see. Third and final question heading into the season with the St. Louis Blues is the most intriguing one. What happens to Gloria? Honestly, I wasn't that big a fan of the song. I don't know why I'm whispering. I feel like a Blues fan's gonna like jump out of the bushes and yell at me or something. It's not a great song, but I respect that it brought the team together and they rallied behind it. Cool team bonding thing. Not a huge fan of the song. Anyways, what happens to the song? Do they do it again? I personally think it takes away from the specialness, is that a word, of the year and of the song and of the story to do it again this year. So I, for one, am team no Gloria this year. I hiccuped, I'm sorry. That's a last year thing. Don't take away its magic by making it an always thing. Well, it's not proper English, but you guys understand what I'm saying. Will the Blues be a playoff team? Yes. Will they win another Stanley Cup? Sorry guys, just don't see it happening. All right, that's all I got for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Get at me in the comments. Let me know what your predictions are for the St. Louis Blues. Should they bring back Gloria? Will Jordan Binnington be Jordan Binnington for a full season? What do you think of Pat Maroon leaving? Hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you think. Like this video, subscribe, all that stuff that you're supposed to do. I can never keep it straight, but if you like the video, do it. If you don't like the video, just don't do anything. All right, see you later. Patrick Maroon's not bad. Bad? What? Huh? What? I burped. That's why that happened. I had a burp.